What is up, goalkeepers? This is Leon from Leon Goalkeeping Reviews, and today I'll be handling some questions that you guys have asked me on YouTube as well as Instagram over the past few weeks. The next question comes from @SaulWilliamsSA, and they ask, what is your favorite gloves and boots? Well, currently my favorite glove would be the Brave Sports Asura, as of now, because I'm using it for like testing and for the review as well, and it hasn't really disappointed me at all. So that's my favorite glove now. And for boots, I really like the Nike Magister Stealth Pack. I really like the Superfly, that sock, the high cut sock right there, because I play on AstroTurf, mainly AstroTurf, and it prevents the black AstroTurf seats from going into your boots. And I used to use low cut boots, those normal kind of boots, and whenever these AstroTurf beads get into my shoe, I usually get a really bad blister on my big toe. So I really prefer having a high cut kind of boot so that the AstroTurf doesn't get in and I don't get blisters, so that I can keep on playing day after day. So yeah, the Nike Magister Auras and Superfly and the Brave Sports Asura would be my favorite boots and gloves. Next question comes from YouTube user Jack Daniels, and he asks, what is football in university like? Well, I stay in this place called a hall in university because I stay really far from my university, so I gotta stay right there in hall. And one of the highlights every year is this thing called the Inter-Hall Games. The Inter-Hall Games pits like 18 teams against one another, and at the end there'll be one champion. So that's what a lot of people usually look forward to in my university. There's another bigger event which is called the SUNIC, which is the Singapore University Games, and it's pretty huge as well. So there's about like 6 universities here in Singapore, and we pit ourselves against one another, eventually having one champion as well. Then upcoming in the early next year, there's going to be this thing called the InterVarsity and Polytechnic Games. So this pits the universities against polytechnics and as well as the ITEs here in Singapore. So it's really huge. It's one of the bigger tournaments here in Singapore for the universities, and yeah, it gets really competitive because most of the players here in university, they have been playing soccer all their lives, from perhaps primary school to secondary school, and now even through their national service, and now even in university. So they are really seasoned. They have a great touch on the ball. They have a great feel on the ball, and that is why football in university gets really difficult, because all of these players are really very professional. The next question comes from Pixel Rylex on YouTube. I've seen him comment on many of my videos, so a huge shout out to Pixel Rylex there. Thank you so much for watching and commenting for all of my videos. And you have asked, do you think goalkeeping is the hardest position in football physically and mentally? This is a great question, but it's a really touchy question as well, because if I say that is one of the most physically demanding, the strikers, midfielders, defenders, they're going to kill me. So yeah, I think that goalkeeping is really very physically demanding, because whenever you go for a dive, you're using technically all of your muscles in your body, your arms, your core, your legs. It's really very tiring. Sometimes after a match or after training, I feel that my neck muscles are really very sore, because you really do a full stretch whenever you go for a dive. So yeah, the goalkeeping is definitely very physically demanding, but cardiovascular wise, you do not run that much, so you don't pant or you don't get your mouth that dry that much as compared to your outfield players. So while we have certain physical demands, definitely the outfield players have their own physical demands as well. However, mentally speaking, I think that the goalkeeping position is really very mentally demanding. I could almost say it's the most mentally demanding position on the pitch, because from the back line you can see the entire pitch and you can see what's going on, and consistently, at least for me, I'm shouting out to all of my players like, what's going on, watch out on the left, you have to drop back, get in the box, send it in. Yeah, I'm shouting to all my players and communicating, because I can see whatever is going on the field. So my mind is consistently working, trying to predict what's going to happen next, trying to make sure that my team is in the optimum position to counter the opponent, or to work the opponent out of the box, to work the opponent onto the wings where they can't take a shot on goal. So it's really very mentally demanding as well. So I think that goalkeeping is pretty physically demanding, but mentally it's one of the most tiring positions you can play. The next question comes from @ConnorFC on Instagram, and he asks, "What is your main goal in your goalkeeping career?" That's a great question, Connor. I think as similar to most goalkeepers here, my main goal is to probably go pro. It's really pretty difficult here in Singapore to go pro. There are not many scouts here. The football scene is not very strong as well. However, I do really want to try to go pro if it's possible, but I know that it's a really long shot. I know great goalkeepers way better than me. Great players with touches and footwork similar to those that you see in the EPL, and it really make my jaw drop. But they are not even in the national team, and they're not even scouted to play anywhere near the national team as well. So the scouting program here is really not up to standard, and it's going to be really difficult. But yeah, my main goal in goalkeeping, this career this stint that I have, it's not even a career, I could say. This passion that I have is really to go pro if it's possible. So thank you for the question. Next question comes from M_1 Thew, which is probably Matthew. Matthew asks, "How have you ever saved a top corner shot?" And Matthew, I have saved a top corner shot before. It's really very difficult. I have saved like probably 2 or 3 in this 7 years because most of these top corner shots probably just go into the goal. But usually when I save these shots, I'm in one of the best positions I can be. I'm slightly tilted to that side of the goal. Instead of like standing in the middle, I know that player is going to shoot there, and therefore I stand a little bit to the left or to the right instead of standing in the center. So that's how I managed to save those shots. It's really rare, but the feeling is great. I can tell you that. Next question comes from @dadbotgod from Instagram, and he asks, "How many times a week do you practice?" Currently, I'm practicing close to 3 to 4 times a week. It gets really tiring. If one week if in a week I practice about like 3 to 4 times, the next week I'll cut it down to 2 to 3 times only, because I really want to let my body take a break. So yeah, thank you for that question. The next question comes from Shenru1411, and he asks, "Are there any tips on saving penalties and how to tell where the ball is going during a penalty? And are there any tips on saving balls in the top half of the goal as well?" I think that this is quite a complicated question, and you need a video kind of a tutorial for you to understand this more. So I probably do that in one of my following videos. So thank you so much for the idea. Next question comes from @IanLXH8388, and he asks, "How did you manage to take such an effortless goal kick?" Oh gosh. As I said before, I stay in hall in university, and trust me, all of my friends in hall, they make fun of me for not being able to take a goal kick. Even in my Sunday league, those guys that I play with are mocking me for not being able to take a goal kick. That video that I posted of me doing a goal kick was when I was training with my captain, Yao Hong. He's been a real inspiration, and he has motivated me to keep being better in goalkeeping. So he coached me for like close to 2 hours just grinding on goal kicks alone. So that's how I managed to take that particular goal kick. So now that I know that I can get a goal kick out, I'm trying to make it more consistent. So I'm going for more trainings, working on my goal kicks game after game, training after trainings. The next question comes from @keepers_of_insta on Instagram, and he asks, "What is the worst mistake you have made in the game?" Just this year, I think in the middle of this year, I played for my Sunday league team, and we were leading 5-1, but eventually we ended the game 5-3, and the 2 goals that I let in were complete rubbish. I remember one of the goals was a back pass, and instead of trying to have the first touch on the ball before passing it on the second touch, I decided to just try with my weaker foot to pass it right away, and this caused me to fumble with the ball, and the striker, who was putting pressure on me, eventually stole the ball from me and just shot it into an open goal. That was a mistake that I had, and when together with my Sunday league team was another goal that I let in really very simply. A player was going to take a shot. He dribbled down the right flank and was trying to take a shot at me. and I predicted it way too early. I dived and he faked the shot. So I dived towards the middle of the goal, but he faked the shot, and eventually he just had to tap it so lightly into the near post. So that was another stupid mistake that I've made in the game. But mistakes are part and parcel of goalkeepers. We try to reduce it as much as possible, and that's why we always go for more trainings and more games to get more exposure. And the next question comes from Ed D Lawgiver, and he asks, "Why did you become a goalkeeper?" Well, I just love hearing the ball stick to your gloves. I love hearing the ball being deflected out of goal, and I love seeing how the opponents are disappointed and how your teammates just cheer for you when they think that the ball's going in, but it doesn't. So you can really make a difference, even though you're just one player in the team. You can really make a difference when it really very much counts, like in a penalty or in a 1-1 draw or in a game that you know you have to win or you must draw in order to put your team ahead. Yeah, that is when the goalkeeper is really very important. And these few years, with keepers like Joe Hart, David De Gea, you can see even Hugo Lloris, goalkeepers are being put more in the spotlight these days because people start to recognize how much of a difference we can make in the team. So that is why I decided to become a goalkeeper. Yeah. The next question comes from RayCB99, and I believe it's Rachel. Thank you for commenting on my videos and watching my videos. She asks, do I have any injuries, and if so, what and how? Generally speaking, most of the time on my right, the big toe on my right foot usually gets a blister, so that's a kind of an injury. But a more serious injury would be my left knee. So before I started to become more serious in goalkeeping, I was into bowling, and that put a lot of pressure on my left knee. And over the years, eventually became a recurring injury. Sometimes my left knee just buckles. I have been to physiotherapy sessions, been to the hospital, and all they can tell me is that I have to wear a knee guard. I have to stretch so that my knee doesn't take so much pressure. So yeah, that's the injury that I have, and I got it from years of bowling in the past. So thank you for the question, Rachel. Next question comes from @Owen.Rogers1, and he asks, "Have you ever played in other countries, and if so, how do they differ from that of your country?" Thank you so much for the question, Owen. I have never played in any other country before. However, I have played other teams from other countries here in Singapore. Recently, I just played a Korean team, and there was a French team that I played last time in the Sunday League as well. So the French team was really very physical, but their passing was immaculate. Their pass success rate was like 90%, and their shots were really very scary. I conceded a top corner shot from one of their strikers just outside of the penalty box alone. So I know that that the French team players can really take very good shots. With the Korean team, they're very physical as well. They communicate very well. They can shout. They shout very often all over the pitch, but that makes for really good communication. So they get the ball around really quickly. They're very tricky. However, one thing that they don't really excel at is finishing. I realized that I was able to stop most of their shots because their shot power wasn't really that great. Their placement was really great, but the power wasn't really there. So yeah, thank you for the question, Owen. The next question comes from the Tom Law on Instagram, and he asks, "If you are in a bad form, how do you get back to good form?" I was in a rut last time after I conceded those two stupid goals on the 5-1 to 5-3 loss, 5-1 to 5-3 victory, and the two goals that I conceded were pure rubbish. So I realized that I was in quite a bad form at that point in time, and I took a 1 week break. And after the 1 week break, I went back to the pitch, but I took on really basic. I went back to basics, and I just did basic diving, basic handling, and just training my footwork a little bit. So when you're in a rut and when you're in bad form, all you have to do is just take a break. You have to stop for a little bit. As much as you hate it, you must stop for a little bit. And your mental game has to be really strong. You're gonna tell yourself that, hey, this is just for a short period of time, but you're going to bounce back really soon, and you have to take actions in order for you to bounce back as well. So what you have to do is for you to get back to trainings, go back to basics, and make sure that your basics are really very solid, your footwork is really solid, and eventually you'll bounce back from your bad form. And the next question comes from @Kalibu, and she asks, "How do you become such a great goalkeeper?" Well, thank you so much for your praise and for the compliment, but I don't believe that I'm such a great goalkeeper as of now. Definitely, I see improvement from where I was in the past and where I am now. I don't think I'm that great yet, but reaching where I am right now was from really hardcore training, passion, and interest in goalkeeping. And that's why I went on online to check out on videos, reviews, gameplay, tips and tricks that other people have put up. And that is why I also decided to put up and start my own YouTube channel as well. So the passion for the game really helped me to become how I am today. And I believe that if you really have the passion and the interest, you can reach any form of standard that you expect yourself to reach as well. The next question comes from bboy13 on Instagram, and this is the last question. It's going to be really difficult. This question is, what should I do to get sponsored? Well, bboy13, it wasn't easy for myself to get sponsored because getting equipment from glove distributors or glove manufacturers is not an easy thing, because definitely they lose the profit from that they can potentially make from from selling that glove and shipping that glove. However, if you have the skills, and you have enough to offer these companies, such as brand recognition, as well as people that will possibly buy their gloves after seeing what you have posted on your social media accounts, possibly they will feel more inclined to send you some of their equipment as well. But most of my equipment, I have used my own money to get them myself. Some of these gloves are sent by goalkeeping companies, but I assure you guys that all of my reviews are definitely unbiased. I make sure that I give you guys top-notch, honest answers, because I do not want you guys to spend money on things that aren't worth your money. I want you to get your best value for money, and that's why I have started my YouTube channel in the very first place. So yeah, there are many things that you need to do to get sponsored bboy13, and the first thing you should do is to buff up your social media accounts on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, you name it. There's so many social media outlets these days, and yeah, you just have to make them more recognized and have more followers and more views on these things, so that the companies can see that, hey, you're generating a lot of leads for them and potential customers for them as well. So I hope that I've answered all of your questions here, guys. If you have any other questions, do not hesitate to just comment down below, and I'll possibly answer them on YouTube, or just comment to your question, and I hope that it will answer your question. And yeah, that's about it. So the glove reviews are coming out real soon. I have been really busy. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching my video. If you liked it, do remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you again, goalkeepers.